Listen, we're not getting all dramatic on this. Here we go. I'm not going to be wrapping any rulers yet. Here we go. All right, here's what I want you to do. We did 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90 yesterday. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to find all the sides on that guy. Right there. You guys have this downloaded, 8283, Soh Cah Toa off of my website. Your job right now is on that triangle, put the x radical 2, put the x, 2x, x root 3 stuff, do all of that stuff, and find out what all the sides are. Is anybody doing it?
Mr.
How?
We're downloading it first.
Oh, you're downloading it. Okay.
What is this?
Do we have to put the X?
I want you to do it with that way that we did it yesterday. You did all 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90. I want you to do it that way. Put like the x radical 3, or x2x, x radical 3, however that you're going to.
I know what this lesson is.
You did it how?
No.
You can't.
Never mind, it's not 30.
You can't. It's 38. Here's the deal.
I need you to say hate.
Here's the deal.
Hate.
There are tons and tons. There are more triangles that you can't do in the world than that you can do. 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90. Very, very special triangles. You can deal with them with those ratios. X root 2, x, 2x, x radical 3. You can do all that.
I need you to stay in this frame.
Just stay in this frame,
Yes.
okay.
No,
Next
just
is
let
telling me
him
to
move
stay here.
around.
You can do that with a lot of triangles, but there's way more that you can't. So, you got to have a different way of doing it. And the next 3 days are about that different way. Okay, the next 3 days are about the different way. You cannot 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90. You cannot use those ratios. They do not work for this set of triangles. And what we're going to figure out, is there something else? And that's what we got to get to today. All right, so we have the something else starting on this page. This is trig, okay? This is your first lesson on trig. Now, not quite. The 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90, that was a trig lesson. This is advanced stuff, okay? I don't think you've ever seen this before. I'd be real surprised if you saw this in algebra. So here's the story. Here's the background. So you see a TP here, okay? And trig was actually invented, pretty kind of weird thing, actually invented by a Native American, an Indian. It's been around for a long time. And what this Native American did, he was Sioux, and he would go around from place to place, from tribe to tribe. He'd go to the Apache, he'd go to the Comanche, he'd go to the Chippewa, whatever, and he would actually build teepees for people. Now, most teepees aren't 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90. And he wanted to know, okay, how long a pine tree do I have to cut down? How much buffalo hide do I need to use? And I need some way of figuring out that math so that I can do that. Now, you know anything about Indian tribes? They get along very well, or were they warlike?
Well, you know,
Yeah, they
it
didn't really
depends
like
on
each
the
other.
Indian tribe, actually.
So this was really kind of a big deal that he was able to do this. I mean, this wasn't like, oh, you know, this, hey, yo, Chippewa, bro. Hey, how you doing? Bro, chacho. You know, what's going on? And hey, I'm going to build you a teepee. No, this was a big deal. He went tribe to tribe, cut down the poles, build the teepees. Okay? For instance, he went to the Apache tribe, and he was, he was going to build a teepee for Chief Giraffe Neck. Now, Chief Giraffe Neck, you guys all know that they name themselves after, whatever it is, whatever personal things is. So Chief Giraffe Neck wanted a really tall teepee. That was Chief Giraffe Neck's, because he wanted to be up in that teepee, and he wanted to be able to stretch his neck out and do all that stuff. So maybe Chief Giraffe Neck had an 80-degree angle here. Maybe that's what it was. So then he would be able to form a right triangle. This trig stuff is right triangle stuff. He'd be able to form a right triangle. I can see my right triangle right. I can see my right triangle right in here. And that is not a 30, 60, 90, or 45, 45, 90 triangle. So he had to have some other math. Also, maybe he went over to another one and he was going to build a teepee for Chief Squatting Frog. Now, Chief Squatting Frog, not very tall, right? Pretty short. He wanted like a big, like lily pad type of teepee. So he wanted like this teepee. And again, that was Chief Squatting Frog's teepee. And hey, what about that angle on this one? Bigger or smaller? Smaller. So maybe that chief was a short little dude, and he wanted a 20-degree angle there. And he was able to use that. Look at this. Oh, the pole, the tree I would cut down here would be a lot different than, the tree I would cut down there. They were completely different trees, completely different ways of doing this. So he developed this set of trig ratios that would allow him to come up with these lengths. Here's the set of ratios he did. All right. So his name was Chief Soh Cah Toa, S-O-H-C-O-H-C-A-H-T-O-A. And it works for the two acute angles in a right triangle. Two acute angles in a right, it has to be a right triangle. This is right triangle trig. There's right triangle trig, there's non-right triangle trig. This is very much right triangle trig, not other stuff. So we know we have to have a right angle. It's nice, you can divide a TP in half and get a right angle. That works out well. All right, let's work off of A first of all. Okay, so here's what he said. He said the sine of an angle, the sine of angle A, for instance. Now, you guys should have calculators. I hope you have a calculator here. You guys ever looked at a calculator and seen those weird buttons where it says sin, cos, and tan? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, that's these buttons. Sin, cos, and tan aren't actually sin, cos, and tan, and actually, that's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. It's not sin. The angle did not sin against the world. It's sine. Please read it as sine. I know it's an abbreviation. Don't say sin, I will yell at you. I do not, it's not cos. It's the cosine. Sine, cosine, and tangent are the terms. You see them on your calculator as S-I-N-C-O-S and T-A-N. We're going to use those buttons. This is the first time you've ever seen how to use those buttons. So he said this, the sine of an angle, here's angle A. The sine of an angle is equal to the side opposite over the hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse. That was his set of ratios. The sine of an angle is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So in this case, if here I am at A, what side is opposite of A? Side, not angle. E is opposite. 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 Which one's the hypotenuse? T. Hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. So sine is OH. OH. Opposite. Opposite. Hypotenuse. So it's E over D. E over D. The sine of angle A is equal to E over D. He then came up with another ratio, the cosine. Cosine of A, not cos, cosine of A. And his ratio for cosine of A was adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So here's angle A. First of all, what's adjacent mean?
Next to.
So here are the choices. F is next to A. D is next to A. Which one of those are we going to call the adjacent side? F, because D is already the hypotenuse.